Sometimes the journey to create something new starts with a quiet moment, a space where I connect with God. And from that place, something beautiful is born. In my walk with God, I've learned to spend time with Him in the early morning before the day gets ahead of me. I'll usually meditate on His Word, maybe like a particular verse or something like that. And He gives my heart peace as I start to prepare for my day. Every day is an opportunity to be made new, and His presence gives me the peace that I need to continue on in my creative processes. Oftentimes, God is the one that stirs up my heart with new ideas and visions for ways to be creative. It's honestly a fulfilling thing to be able to make my art and be creative, but also because I've kind of realized over time that these ideas and dreams come from God because they're bigger than myself. I've honestly learned to just make my music and make my art and trust that God is leading me always in the process. One of my favorite things to do is I'll usually pick up the guitar and play something. Or I'll usually go through samples or something I like, like a sound or a sample, whatever it may be. It's just something to spark the creativity. I also try to stay present and not to rush the process. Sometimes God reveals a melody or like an idea in a moment of stillness as I'm thinking of what to do next. For example, like I was on Instagram just scrolling through the reels and I found this video of this guy playing a saxophone to like a cover of Coldplay. I dug the vibe and the energy, and so I just decided to screen record it and just bring the audio straight into Serato sample. So right now I'm just finding a pattern of kind of what works and a way I can chop up something to sound melodic. So I'm just going to set up my MIDI keyboard real quick and just start programming some pads and see if we can find a good melody out of the sounds. So I'm just making sure everything is like in tune and everything is in sync with the BPM and the metronome of the actual project session we're working with in Logic. So right now I'm just auditioning some drums with the track. It's not really much, honestly. It's only just a simple drum loop, and that's pretty much it. I'm just playing to the beat of the drums with the samples because they're in sync at the same BPM pretty much. And just like that, something new begins to happen, and the song starts to come together a little bit. It's honestly like how God works sometimes. You just come to Him with what you have and what you're capable of doing. And sometimes it's not much, or in your mind it's a mess, but in the process, God begins to make something beautiful. So right now I'm just adding some RC20. This pretty much just gives it a little bit more of a vintage sound, you know, going for like a vinyl feel. And this is basic stuff. This plugin is super simple, super easy to use. You just kind of tweak some knobs and figure out what you like. So these drums are already pretty much good already, but just to add a little bit of an extra feel and vibe, I'm just going to throw some more RC20 on the drums. I'm using this preset from the crate. So yeah, the sample pattern is sounding pretty good already. Now I'm just going to start messing with levels and just start to mix the two together. So now what I'm doing here is I took a couple of chops from the beginning of the song or from the beginning of the video, and now I'm just kind of mismatching them to make a good transition for the beginning. I usually like to do this in the beginning of the songs just to add more feel and movement to the songs, into my beats pretty much. So the idea is that it starts off like in this distorted, reverbed kind of sound, and then it all kind of comes together. And I'm honestly just thinking about ways to be creative, so I'm adding some fades right here just to make everything seamless in the transitions between the tracks, just to make it smooth. That's all. So now just to add some more vibe and more feel to the beginning, I'm just going to start automating some stuff in RC20. Some reverb and yeah. This can also be done by using the latch option in Logic. See, so I'm automating some reverb. I threw in a little echo effect too, just to automate that as well, just to make it a little bit more dramatic. See, that's the feel we're going for, you know. I hope you guys get the idea, just to make it feel like you're just coming from this big wall of sound and then it's going straight into the track. It's actually cool if you get creative with it, you can make all these cool laser sounds and all that cool stuff, so. Yeah, see, that sounds pretty fire, honestly. So now I'm just going to start making a bass track in Logic. I usually do the bass on the keys just because it's easier. And I use their preset, but I went to go load it and it didn't load up, so I had to restart my computer. Anyway, so I usually will use like the Liverpool preset or whatever. It honestly just needs to create the feel, you know. Now I'm just kind of figuring out what works, just pretty much just playing along, finding a good bass loop. I'm only going to do it for a couple of bars. You don't want to do anything crazy, just keeping it simple. You want to enjoy yourself, you know. I'm just flowing, just making music. See, now it's starting to come together. As the song starts to come together, I start to groove out a little bit. When your head's moving, that's when you know it's starting to sound good. So now what I'm doing here is I'm just chopping up the bass track that I just recorded and just making it into a loop pretty much. So now what I'm doing here is I'm just adding a low pass filter just to make sure the bass cuts through and getting rid of any high end information in there. It really doesn't need to be there because it's a bass, you know. I'm getting rid of that the low mud frequencies that kind of clash with the kick of the drum. Just carving out a place for the bass. So I laid down just a little bit of guitar, but nothing crazy. It's only just for texture and just to make the mix and the song sound more full and less repetitive. It'll be very low in the mix though. See, now things are really starting to come together. So right now what I'm doing is I'm using like a mono speaker just to listen to hear how everything sounds in mono, making sure we got a flat frequency response so it translates well when people play it on their phones or in their car. So we're going to be recording straight to the multi-track cassette. I love this thing. I recently just got this and I've been digging it. I've been just recording everything straight to cassette for the analog warmth and saturation you get from it. It's super old school, but I dig using analog gear if you can.
Let's make this the one.
So now we're just recording it straight to cassette. It's a beautiful day out and we're just vibing now. Now we wait. Yeah. So now we're just coming straight out of the multi-track cassette back into the computer using my Mo2 interface.
Make this the one.
And with God, all things become new. The creative process may take time, but God is always working, creating something from nothing. I find that even in the moments of reflection and stillness, there's new life and new art and music waiting to emerge. This means that anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. The old life is gone and the new life has begun. Don't conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. beauty of creation is that it's always evolving, always being made new. And as I walk with God, I believe that I too am being renewed, one step at a time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe for more content.